Oh, okay. So, well, tomorrow, I mean, it's just a quick turnaround since last week with the weather and all of that. So we're thankful to be back here, UK, and who does such a great job of hosting. We've really enjoyed it here. Tomorrow, we have Penn State, and it would be the third meeting for us. And, with the Big Ten, you see so many teams represented across the board. There's a lot of familiarity, and Penn State knows us extremely well. We know them extremely well, and our teams have gone toe-to-toe for years now. So Penn State, obviously they return all their starters from last year, a team that went to the Final Four and is pretty solid at every single position. And so they're a tough team to defend against. They're a very physical team and very well-prepared team. So we look forward to, getting after it ourselves, and we've done a great job of preparing over the course of this NCAA tournament, and I look forward for us to do the same thing as we go on.
Questions for any of the three, student athletes or coach? Go ahead.
Coach, you talked about having been here last weekend. Does that help any at all as far as familiarity?
Well, it's always nice to be at a facility, and get comfortable with facilities. But when you're in this business, you go into so many different, everybody's well prepared for that. This is the end of the year. You've been going to, opponents' places all year long. So you've always had to adapt. And by this time, I think, I like being back here because we have the familiarity of the people, all that. But it may give us a little bit of something, but we'll take it if it does. So.
Floor defense was a big strength for you in advancing so far. What's the key to having this continual success this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, we say defense wins championships, and you saw a lot of people step up in different areas. I mean, Lauren Wazinski had 18 digs, and that really is a game changer for us. When we can keep those balls off the floor, it puts our hitters in system. A lot more attacking options off that, and we're a threat that way. And when we keep the ball off the floor, and no one can really stop our offense, and so that definitely is a big component for us going into the weekend.
Go ahead.
Coach, you played Penn State twice this year, split both of them on your home court. What is going to be the key to the match, taking a neutral site win and advancing on to the next round?
Well, I don't know that there's any one key. I don't think it's, I think it's going to be two teams that are going to be battle ready. They're going to be looking at each other to gain access to the next round, and so you're going to have two extremely hungry teams. Penn State has been eyeing that national championship, no doubt, and they are there, and we're looking to get to that next round and continue on as well. So you're not going to surprise anybody at this time of the year. Everybody's prepared, everybody's ready to go. So I think it's just for us, we got to stay tough and know that Penn State's going to do some great things, and we just need to keep pushing on, and we've got to continue to answer back with what we know we do well, and make sure that that's where the game is. Control what you can control, and not stress over things you can't. So.
Go ahead.
Talking about that, how much do you prepare for Penn State looking at your matches with them, and how much do you look at recent matches with them?
Unfortunately, I look at it all, and so my eyes are kind of glazed over this week. I've been, I've watched a heck of a lot of tape, and I look at all of that, and I try to come together with, what is it that you can find as consistent, something teams do consistently. I look at us, what we did do, what we didn't do. You try to gain, but we looked at that as after the games each time we've played Penn State and other teams. You try to improve your team that week after, and how do you go about that? So, we definitely look at that. We look at what's the consistencies from the matches this past weekend for Penn State, and then versus other Big Ten teams that we've seen along the way.
Go ahead.
Kristen, does the win at Penn State earlier this year, does that give you guys confidence in terms of beating them in this round and being able to be successful?
I think that whenever you've beaten a team, you gain confidence that way, and I think it's interesting that we beat them on their floor and they beat us on our floor, and that kind of adds to the mix a little bit, and now playing in a neutral site, like Kathy said, like both teams are going to come battle ready. We both are groveling. We're both hungry to move on to the next round. And I think what confidence we have beating them, they have confidence beating us. And so I think that is a very two-way street. And I think it's going to come down to playing good volleyball tomorrow night. And you kind of can't write off any wins or losses coming into this round, whether you've beaten them or not, because everyone's going to come out, like Kathy said, there's no surprises anymore. Everyone's going to come out ready to go, and being able to just kind of channel that into the here and now in the moment.
For student athletes, what are you all doing right now that maybe you weren't excelling at maybe in the last matchup with Penn State?
We've talked a lot about this season, just like the mental aspect of volleyball and how you're capable of beating yourself, which we've kind of shown a couple times throughout the year. And we've worked on that, and we've worked on when times get tough, and Penn State's going to do some awesome things. There's no doubt about that. But how we respond to that is definitely going to be a big component in the game, and really just in the game of volleyball in general. So you've seen our maturity grow throughout the year, and it's definitely grown since the last time we played them.
And I think Kathy said about studying tapes is we've played them twice, and our last meeting was in the first half of the second half of the Big Ten. And I think looking back to what we did well, what we've improved on, what did they expose us on, and we can say with confidence that there's some things that we do better now than maybe we didn't that week, and they're clearly better at things that they didn't do. So it's definitely going to be a different match, but it's good to know riding into this game tomorrow night that you have improved. I mean, that's why the Big Ten is so tough. It prepares you for this because it makes you get better every week.
Go ahead.
Coach, what are your thoughts on the strength of the Big Ten this year, having 3 teams in this regional?
It's awesome. I mean, you look across the board, to have 7 teams in the NCAA Sweet 16 is crazy, and that's a record. I believe from Jamie has said that that's the record of any sport, and definitely in volleyball. So we look at that and we say, well, we know that. I mean, you don't want to beat yourself up over losses that you had during the year, because any of those losses are teams that are very, very talented. So you've been tested, and I think that's what, Kristen was just saying is, there's been areas that you've been weak at during the year that you can look at. They've been exposed. Any of your weak points have been exposed. You have to shore that up. You have to work on those things and then continue to strengthen the things that you're strong at. And so the Big Ten, all of these teams are great teams for different ways. You see different styles, and you have to learn how to stop each style. I like that about the Big Ten, because whenever you come into the NCAA tournament, you can say, oh, that reminds me of this team, or that reminds me of that team. And and I know our team really can identify with that and then go from there. It speaks volumes to the Big Ten and just what kind of athletes are playing in the Big Ten, and you're not going to get a walk any night. And I can tell you the teams that are sitting home in the Big Ten are awfully good teams. And we know that because they are all good and they all have great players. So there's not one night that you can say, wow, we can take it easy on. And I think that just keeps you going. It keeps you focused. It keeps you on task. So I appreciate that about it, and yet I lose a lot of sleep over that. So anyway.
Anything else?
Yeah, I've got a question. This is kind of a general question, but the Big Ten is so strong. Is volleyball just that strong in the area of the country, or are y'all just, you've got great coaches in your conference?
Mm-hmm.
Why is the Big Ten all of a sudden not all of a sudden, but it used to be West Coast.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah.
Midwest.
I don't know why I say this. I don't know if there's any credibility to this statement, but I was not coaching in the Big Ten in 1989, but it seemed like there was a real push to develop volleyball in the Big Ten from the administrators. And, the whole Title IX piece and everything else was coming around, and they were starting to put in resources back in that time. And in the 90s, you saw a surge of the Big Ten, and, just more money was being put into it. The administrations were supporting it with marketing dollars and all those other different things, and so it started to move into that direction. The volleyball in the West Coast has always been strong, but I think the second place that it got really strong was Chicago. And I'm old enough to tell you all this stuff. Yeah, I'm old enough to tell you all this because I lived in this. But volleyball in the Chicagoland area in particular grew really strong, as well as the West Coast. And from that, then the Midwest region started to grow, and some of the cities within the Midwest region started to develop their club volleyball. With that being said, then you had great recruiting opportunities, and who better to feed off that than the Big Ten, who is now supporting their programs with dollars. So as that kind of came up, you're looking at, Cincinnati, Chicago, and all the pockets, Indianapolis and Milwaukee area and Madison, all those different cities, Minneapolis. You've seen them sprout up with these club teams that are highly competitive within each other. That's then, if you look at the Big Ten's rosters, you'll see that it comes from the Midwest primarily. You do pull out of other areas, but why not? These kids grow up, they see Big Ten volleyball on TV, they see it in their backyards, they're able to go and watch the quality level of play, and they're saying, hey, I want to grow up and do that. If you look at Nebraska in the 80s, Nebraska did a great job of signing and keeping their own from the state of Nebraska. So they took the best athletes and started to develop those kids, and every little girl wants to grow up and be a Husker. I mean, they developed that sense, and I think the same can be said for the Big Ten. Young girls in the area say, hey, I want to grow up. We're getting more TV exposures than anybody. We have more All-Americans. We have better attendance figures across the board, and you're seeing that grow, and it's feeding into it. So, and I don't have this all by statistics, and I didn't go do a study on this, but that's just kind of my observations over the years.
And one more question along the lines. You've got Alexis Matthews was a redshirt freshman.
Yep.
So she was just a raw athlete.
Oh, boy.
Pretty much when she came to
Oh boy.
So is that kind of common in volleyball? Like y'all can pick out some athletes and say, hey, I'm going to redshirt and I can turn this kid into.
Well, I think that's hard to do in the Big Ten. I really do. I think it's much more difficult in the Big Ten than it is in every conference. I coached in the Mid-American Conference, and I took a lot of kids like Alexis. I did. That was one of the things, and we felt that we could teach them and progress them. In the Big Ten, though, every little inch, every little weakness is exploited, and so for Alexis, it's been a process, and it's been in the highest level and the fastest pace that she's had to learn in. So, but she's elevated her game each and every year and has done some really nice things. And we're all very proud of what she's been able to accomplish over the years. But I mean, the first year, that redshirt year, boy, I'll tell a story. Should I tell a story? This is a press conference. I'm not sure I'm supposed to tell these stories. But anyway, so she comes up and we're in practice, and Kristen's setting the ball, and this is the net. And so she's going for a gap set over where Kristen is. And Kristen sets it. She hits it right back in Kristen's face on the same side of the net. I mean, like, boom, right in her face, and she's knocked over, and we have film clips of it, and we still put it in those tapes.
What was she thinking? I mean,
Well, she was just not closed. She didn't close her shoulders. She just went right into her and hit the ball. So we have some stories from that first year that were quite amusing, but Alexis has done such a great job in her understanding of the game and just everything that she's worked to improve on. And and then we didn't put her in the back row opportunity, like we didn't give her many back row opportunities in the first year or two. But she's able to do those things in practice now, and because we want to prepare her for her professional career and those types of things. And so it's been important for her growth and just overall, she's grown leaps and bounds.
Anything else?
Coach, obviously your team's coming off a big weekend, last weekend.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm assuming your players are either in exams or getting ready to have exams, and then obviously.
We have 6 exams going on today.
Yeah, the football
Exactly.
team comes off the
Yep.
championship. There's got to be a lot of excitement and
Tons.
distractions on campus. What are you doing to try to keep girls focused on the here and
Well, I think the team is very excited because field hockey has done so well. Soccer was in the Elite Eight last week. The football team won the conference and going to the Rose Bowl, and it's our turn. So that's what you want to do, is you want to build your athletic department in a way that all teams are vying for championships, and you have All-Americans running around and everything and doing all sorts of things, and it brings a sense of pride to our athletes. It's not a distraction at all. It's an encouragement, and we look to it to just really inspire the rest of us, and we want to inspire others, at Michigan State, and so it's kind of exciting. Finals, they turned right around because of the late day. We got back on Sunday, and they had 8 o'clock tests on Monday, and to prepare for. But I think our team has done a really nice job of preparing for the fact that there is, and I'm sure every team that's going on, they have to prepare for the fact that finals are kind of right here in the mix. That going in, so you need to time manage.